September 11, 2021 was the day the earth stood still, as we watched as two buildings came crashing down due to terrorist attacks. Today marks 20 years since that event happened, and here are some testimonies of where people were and how they felt during this time.
I was living in Lawrence, Kansas the day of 9/11. I was driving home from an early morning appointment and happened to look up in the sky and saw the plane contrails. It looked like all the planes were turning around. It was the strangest feeling. I got this heavy, foreboding feeling in the pit of my stomach and rushed home. I turned on the TV news and saw what was happening in New York. I saw the towers come down. It was horrifying. And I prayed that my friends would make it out of there safe and sound. I was raised in Delaware and had a lot of friends there. Many people from Delaware work in New York City and in those towers. And it turned out that the only person that survived that from Delaware that worked in that area was my brother-in-law. We're still feeling the fallout of that in the family today.
On September 11th, 2001, I was home from work. I stayed home because I had had a massive headache that morning, and I just didn't feel like going in. So I slept in. I remember my wife watching Good Morning America. I had gotten up, got some coffee, had tried to get ready to go to work, but I ended up going back to bed. I just remember my wife yelling from the other room, "Tim, you have to come see this." And I walked into the living room just as the second plane hit the second tower. I will never forget that day. I will never forget where I was, what I was doing. And I remember sitting there in a state of loss and amazement for the rest of the day, wondering what had just happened and why.
I will never forget the place I was at the time when 9/11 happened. I had just gotten to work on a shift at the local hospital that I worked at. I had just graduated nursing school not too long before that. Got off the elevator and I could just energetically feel that something was very, very wrong. That was one of the biggest things that I can remember of my intuition and my energetic abilities. I got off the elevator. As soon as the elevator doors opened, I could feel something was very, very wrong. So I walked onto the unit, walked into a patient's room. It was just so silent. I remember you could hear a pin drop, except for their TV was on, and I stood there in my patient's room watching as the second plane hit the tower and the tower began to fall. At first I thought it was like a movie. It just didn't seem real. Then immediately tears started welling up in my eyes, and I was just dumbfounded of what had just happened in our own country, to know that we were in danger and that there was a threat within our own country, which is much like how I feel at the current moment with a lot of our civil liberties being taken away. You look at Australia, and I have some friends that live over there who I just spoke with last week, and it's terrifying, the things that are happening in Australia, and to think that that is actually what is going to be coming here to the United States if we do not, as a people, stand up, continue to fight for our rights and our freedoms. It's very scary. It feels very similar to the threat that descended upon us on September 11th is what's happening even tenfold now in this country with the current situation and the current climate of events, and our rights just getting stripped from us.
My name is Nina Corcoran, and on September 11th, 2001, I was 12 years old and had just started the 7th grade. Our teachers were not supposed to tell us what happened, but I can remember the way that they came in and out of the classrooms and were whispering to each other, talking about the events and keeping each other informed. I can remember how worried they were, how sick they all looked. I can remember how scared they were. Although I was too young to totally understand what was going on, 9/11 changed my life forever because my father was a member of the Massachusetts National Guard. He was in a military police unit, and he deployed shortly after. My father would deploy many times during the course of my childhood. He missed my 13th birthday, several birthdays after that, my high school graduation, my college graduation, and many other milestones. He sacrificed a lot because of what happened on September September 11, 2001. Because of those events, my father watched my brother and I grow up through photographs and video calls. And if you asked him today, he would probably tell you he wouldn't change a thing. And for that, I am incredibly proud to say that I'm his daughter. And that's one of the reasons why I was inspired to become a police officer myself. I will never forget September 11th, 2001.
I send my condolences to the families of over 2,900 victims and those that suffered during this devastating act of terrorists. Something that I remember seeing and hearing was that the day after, people started to fear their neighbors, friends, colleagues, and even strangers because they had the same religion or was from the same country as a terrorist. To me, that is how you make the terrorists win. Their objection is to inject fear and pain to others. However, the other side of September 12, 2021 was people started to show love and went around hugging each other. They showed compassion and humanity towards one another. This is what I believe we should strive for. To the first responders, search and rescue team, cleanup crew, and anyone that was involved to ensure a safe environment to those around them, I thank you. To the New Yorkers, stay strong. This is Chainsaw Phoenix, heading to the exit.